So UFC 319 just took place, and Khamzat Chimaev basically rendered one of the greatest fighters we've ever seen in Dricus du Plessis into a fucking training W, okay? Khamzat's complete domination of Dricus du Plessis, who is one of the most physical fighters in the history of the UFC, and not only that, but one of the most explosive and well-rounded fighters in the middleweight division as well, completely nullified him in every single aspect of MMA. And it kind of just left me thinking, who the fuck is going to beat this guy? Who on the planet Earth even has a chance of defeating Khamzat Chimaev? And without getting into spoiler warnings, I don't think it's that many people, alright? So, Tony has died, will be ranking the future Khamzat Chimaev opponents from easiest to hardest. Let's get straight into this, alright? Starting with literally everybody else in the entire division. Alright, what the fuck is Jared Cannonier gonna do to Khamzat Chimaev? What the hell is Brendan Allen? Like, bro, Brendan Allen, he's got some sneaky takedowns, man. He's got some crafty... Dude, Brendan Allen went to a split decision with Chris Curtis, alright? He's not doing shit to fucking Chimaev, bro. Roman Dolidze, he just got turned into a woman by Fluffy Hernandez. Oh, I don't know, man. Actually, I think Roman Dolidze is I think he has some crafty moves up his sleeve, bro. I think Roman... Like, what is Paulo Costa, like, legitimate... Like, this was a fight that was booked. What the hell was Paulo Costa going to do to Chimaev? I remember he called him out, too. And I saw some people, even after Paulo Costa won his last fight, I saw some people saying, oh yeah, man, this fight has some beef behind it. I think it really makes sense. I really hope that the people that were saying that have realized how absolutely autistic they sounded, alright? Like, I don't think anybody else, besides the people I'm going to talk to, even have a chance. Like, what the fuck would Roman Kopylov do to Chimaev? What would Abus Magomedov do? Like, Abus would gas out in fucking 45 seconds. Like, and not even just that. There's not even anybody in the rankings, like outside of the rankings, that I think realistically has a better shot than any of the people that I'm going to talk about. Because I look down the rankings and it's like Bo Nickel, Shara Bullet, RoboCop, Iron Turtle. Like, I don't think any of these people stand a chance against Chimaev. Maybe back in the day, I would say that the wrestling of Bo Nickel could possibly have a chance against Chimaev, but I think Chimaev would probably just knock him out on the feet, completely honest, because Bo Nickel's striking is just, it is terrible. So, yeah, man, I just don't think anybody else in the division really stands even like a fucking 1% chance against Chimaev. I think, like, we saw what happened to Whitaker. I know he had the pre-existing jaw injury, but I mean, if Reinier de Ridder is able to impose his grappling on you, I really doubt that it would go any different in a rematch with Chimaev. I mean, we saw what Chimaev did already. Just the double leg that he hit on Whitaker was the fastest double leg I've ever seen. And yeah, I just don't think that I don't think any of these people stand a fucking chance against Chimaev, bro. Like, you look down the rankings, and it's like Atiba Gautier is someone that could knock him out in the future. Like, there's nobody coming up the rankings that is, like, promising to defeat Chimaev. So, I honestly think if Chimaev just becomes an active champion, he can clear out the division pretty quickly. I mean, he already has the Whitaker win, and he has the Dricus win now, which is his best win of all, because Dricus is in his prime. And we'll talk about this other guy that he fought later. But I just don't know what the hell, like, what is Brendan Allen going to do to Chimaev? You know? Fucking nothing. Like, all of these people would get made to hold Chimaev's pocket, alright? Alright. Let's get on to the next person that I think stands a fucking, 5% chance against Chimaev, and that's Michael Venom Page. If there's anybody in the UFC that has a puncher's chance against somebody else, I think it's Michael Venom Page. I think it would be a very interesting matchup as well, simply because I think MVP is the best pure striker. Like, just straight up striking, nothing else. I think nobody can really beat MVP in just a straight-up striking match in middleweight. But unfortunately for Michael Venom Page, there are some very obvious weaknesses in his game regarding the grappling. I mean, this guy got taken down by Kevin Holland. He got taken down by Ian Gary. He got taken down by Jared Cannonier. Anyone that wants to defeat MVP, you just fucking wrestle fuck him, alright? And I think that Khamzat Chimaev, call me a madman for this take, bro. I think Khamzat Chimaev is good enough to get MVP down, bro. I do think that the distance management aspect of this fight would be pretty interesting. I think Chimaev closing the distance right at the beginning of the fight, I think that would be, like, out of all the people he has to close the distance on, I think it would be hardest with MVP. But I think he's able to do it. And then once he's able to do it, I think it's kind of over for him, bro. You know, like, once Chimaev gets Page to the ground, he'll probably sub him in the first round, you know? So, yeah, man, I think MVP would get bitched by Chimaev. I'll give him like a 5% chance to beat him. I give him the puncher's chance. He can land that flying knee right out the gate, or maybe he can land a good old 1-2 down the pipe. But let's keep it real, okay? This guy stands no chance, all right? And speaking of people that stand no chance, the next person on this list, I got Israel Adesanya. Now, I think that Adesanya's takedown defense over the years has been a little overrated because people that have tried to grapple him include Marvin Vettori. You know, like, even in his prime, I think he was a little overrated in the grappling department. Cannonier didn't try to, like, shoot some takedowns for some reason. Whitaker tried a couple. He got him stuffed, but Whitaker's not really a grappler. Dricus, however, was very successful in his ability to take Adesanya down, and I don't think that Chimaev would be any different. I think it would be easier, in fact. I think Chimaev would shoot a double leg on Izzy right out the gate, get the body lock, dump Izzy over the top, get his back and choke him out. Rear naked choke or Darce. I could see either. I don't really think that... another thing about this fight, Adesanya is not in his prime anymore. Now, I don't think that he's completely washed. He was doing very well against Imavov, and he was doing pretty good against Dricus as well. But at the same time, he's not the same fighter as he used to be. He's not the Adesanya that knocked out Robert Whitaker. He's not the Adesanya that completely masterclassed undefeated Paulo Costa. He's like 1-3 in his last 4, and he's shown holes in his game. And I just think that for Adesanya, the way to beat him is written. He has too many tendencies that have not, there is so much tape on Adesanya because of how many decisions he's gone to. And I'll talk about that with Chimaev in a second, but I think the game plan to defeat Adesanya is there for anybody that has the skill to exploit it. I think Chimaev definitely has the skill, so I give Adesanya like a fucking 7% chance to beat Chimaev, but I think he would most likely just get taken down and subbed in the first round. And let's talk about the next person on this list, which is Dricus du Plessis, who just fought Chimaev. Now, one thing I will say going into a rematch for Dricus is we saw in the Sean Strickland rematch, and this is one of Dricus' best attributes, his ability to game plan is probably one of the best in the UFC, to able to understand his weaknesses, see his opponents, see what his opponents do, and capitalize on it in his next fights. I'm using the Strickland rematch as the prime example because that first fight with Strickland, it honestly could have gone to Strickland. I'm about to take a sip of water right now. But the first fight with Strickland, it honestly could have gone either way. And Dricus did a really good job of making adjustments in the second fight and completely shutting out Strickland. So that's definitely something that goes into, that is something that to look out for, right? But the point I'm trying to make is I think that the skill gap in the grappling between Dricus and Chimaev is so far apart. I don't think that even if Dricus makes adjustments, I don't think he can win, I don't think that there's anything you can do in his lifetime to reach the level of skill that Chimaev has on the ground and close that gap. what can Dricus do in the next year or two to separate? Like, he has to get 2 more wins first, because I don't think you can give Dricus an automatic rematch, obviously, the way he got fucking shut out. And I don't think you can just give him another title shot after 1 more win. I think he has to get 2 or 3 more wins. And you look at the rest of the middleweight rankings, and it's mostly strikers. So in those training camps, he'd have to train for strikers. And then he'd have to fight Chimaev with pure grappling again. I just don't see like what Dricus can do in the meantime to, like, what is Dricus gonna do? Like, he's completely shut out. Like, I think his best move, like, I'm not gonna say he should change weight classes, but I just don't think he's never gonna touch the belt again at middleweight, you know? So maybe you just wait for Chimaev to go up or something, or go back down. We'll talk about some of these lighter people in a second. But yeah, man, I just think that the skill gap between them is too much. And I think Dricus, I think we overrated his grappling a little too much, just because he submitted Adesanya. But I think that's because Adesanya's anti-grappling was a little overrated. I think that Chimaev is kind of showing, hey man, there's levels to this shit in terms of grappling. And, well, obviously he did that, but what I'm trying to say is, like, this guy got taken down by Whitaker, he got taken down by Brunson, now he got absolutely destroyed by Chimaev. He has a weakness in the ground game that is exploitable, and that will be there for Chimaev to exploit in a rematch. So yeah, I just don't think Dricus stands much of a chance. And I don't think that this fucking guy, I think he stands a better chance against Dricus, because I think he has some attributes in his game that are, I feel like he has better takedown defense than Dricus for sure. And I feel like he has cardio. Like, Dricus isn't really known for his cardio, and that's something you have to defeat Chimaev. I think that his cardio and his takedown defense are attributes that are good, but I don't think they're good enough to actually do shit about, bro. You know? I don't think that Sean Strickland, I see this guy on Twitter. I'll read the tweet now. I'm probably the only one in the UFC that can out-grapple this little whore for 5 rounds. Looks like I gotta snack some W's to fight that little bitch. LMAO. What are you gonna do to Chimaev, bro? You're gonna jab him? You're gonna teep him? Dude, Chimaev would turn Sean Strickland into his bit. I think he would do Sean Strickland the exact same way he did Dricus, but probably just a little less dominant. Now, one thing I will say for Strickland, I think that now that we have a full 25-minute fight on Chimaev, there are ways to game plan beating him in the future, but Eric Nixick is not the one to do that, bro. Like, your coach is not, like, your coach fucking sucks. Your style is risk adverse. And to beat Chimaev, you have to take risks everywhere. And you're just going to jab and teep. Like, I don't think so, bro. I don't think Sean Strickland has that. I don't think he has that dog in him to do that to Chimaev. I also saw some tweets of Strickland saying, oh, it wasn't a tweet, it was a video he took. Chimaev's not a real man. I'm a real man, bro. I'm going out there to jab and teep, bro. All right, bro. Whatever you say, Strickland. Whatever you say. But I think that this fight would probably just go very similar to the fight that we just watched. Strickland's takedown defense is good, but it's not good enough to stuff Chimaev. And I don't think he's going to actually, he's not going to do damage, bro. This guy doesn't do damage to his opponents. Think about how many split decisions he's gone to. It's because he just jabs and teeps. We can make fun of Chimaev for landing little pitter-patter shots. At least he was controlling Dricus on the ground. This guy Strickland, he'll just do it on the feet, bro. And yeah, I just don't see. I mean, this guy got sunned by Dricus twice. I don't see him being anything to Chimaev, bro. So yeah, let's move on to the next one, which is Kaio Borralho. Now, the Fighting Nerds gym, the success that they've been having makes me worried about my placement of Kaio in this list, because it seems like they just get better and better and better and better as time goes on. And we have seen these people improve from fight to fight every single fight. And I don't know if it's going to be different with Borralho. We have seen Kaio get shot on before, and he's had a pretty good job of stuffing takedowns, but I just don't think he's faced anybody like Khamzat before ever, obviously. And, I mean, as I was talking about earlier with levels, like I'm not saying MMA math is real, but it is a good way to determine what level of a fighter you are. And this guy is having a super, like, the fight with Jared Cannonier, it was 2-2 going into the 5th round, you know? And the 5th round was super competitive until Kaio dropped Cannonier. If you're going to a close fight with Cannonier, I'm just saying, bro, like, what the fuck are you going to do to Chimaev? Like, what is anybody going to, like, that's what this whole list is. And what is anyone going to do to Chimaev? You know? Now, I will say on the ground, Kaio is underrated. I don't know if you guys know this, but he had a grappling match with Brendan Allen in which he won, which is really impressive because Brendan Allen is a great grappler. But, you know, he has the win over Abus, who's a grappler who shot some takedowns on him, you know? He has the win over Paul Craig. He has a couple of wins over some grapplers, so I don't hate his chances too much. But ultimately, bro, I just think that Chimaev is a different beast, man. Like, what is he going to do? Like, legitimately, is he going to stuff all the takedowns? Is he going to fucking get up and rally and land a 1-2, land a couple hooks? Like, I can't see Kaio being the one to do that. I think he is a tad bit overrated. He's got the free spirit throat, too. Like, anyone that's got a throat that says free spirit on it needs to be checked, alright? But yeah, I really think we're just going to have to see Imavov versus Kaio to see if they even stand a chance against Chimaev. But the winner of that should probably end up fighting Chimaev. So yeah, let's talk about the next person on this list, which is Imavov himself. Let's keep it real about Imavov, man. We all saw the Brendan Allen fight, alright? We all saw the Brendan Allen fight. And in the Brendan Allen fight, this guy got double-legged by Brendan Allen in the first round and taken down with ease. I'm sorry, bro, but if Brendan Allen is doing this to you, Chimaev is going to put you out cold, okay? Let's keep it real. And not just this, alright? This guy was getting out-teeped and jabbed by Sean Strickland. This guy was having a super close fight with Jared Cannonier. This guy was having a super close fight with Adesanya as well before he found the finish in that fight. I think that Imavov, he just kind of makes it too close with people. And people that aren't even on Chimaev's level, he's making it too close with. And I think he's shown holes in his game in the striking, and he's shown holes in his game in the grappling that I think Chimaev, especially the grappling, like the Brendan Allen fight, it was the main example, bro. Like, if you could take that, like, you could say, bro, he just wasn't ready. If you're not ready for Brendan Allen, you're not ready for fucking Chimaev, okay? Let's keep it a buck, alright? So, Imavov, I don't think he stands much of a chance against Chimaev. Now, Chimaev has been recently playing with the idea of moving back. He wants to be the triple champion. He wants to fulfill the legacy. And strangely enough, we have Islam Makhachev, who will probably end up being the champ. I keep swinging back and forth with this fight. I don't know if Islam or JDM will win. So let me just edit JDM onto this picture real quick. So yeah, Chimaev has been toying with the idea of moving back to 170. Now, I think it's all kind of bullshit. I don't think that he's going to do it. But let's just pretend that he would, bro. And let's say that he fought Islam and he fought JDM, right? Now, I do think that Islam Makhachev stands a better chance against Chimaev. I think that he's shown obviously a lot. Let's talk about the weaknesses first. The fight with Volk. He got taken down by Volk, and he got dropped by Volk, and Volk is a 145er. All right, and that is something that would be very obvious in this fight, is that Islam Makhachev is moving up from 155. He'd probably be around the same size as like a fucking Colby Covington. He would definitely be bigger than Woodley. Woodley would have been a 155 back in the day. But this guy is probably going to be around the same size as Conor when he was fighting at 170. And he's going to be fucking fighting someone that could make 205, man. And I know that lighter man's skill is a real thing. I think that, I think that it is definitely a real possibility that Islam is a better fighter than Chimaev just on a technical level, but I don't think so. I think that Chimaev, in the grappling, I still think that he is probably better than Islam. Now, I do agree that Islam is a better striker, and that's what would get interesting about the matchup between Islam and Khamzat, because we imagine Khamzat is this huge guy, but he used to be a 170er, and his hardest fights have been against people at 170 in Burns, and I know Usman is a 185er, but he has the 170 skill. And those are his two hardest fights. And I think that Islam Makhachev stands a very real chance in this, okay? I do think that the size would probably be too much and he'd be able to get Islam down for a couple of rounds and hold him there. But if Islam is able to stuff the takedowns of Chimaev, and Chimaev would be weight drained, and he had problems making 170 before because of his weight cutting, I really don't think Chimaev can make 170 ever again. So this is kind of like, why are we even talking about this bullshit, to be honest? But I think that Islam has a good ability to stuff takedowns, and I just don't think it would be enough to beat Chimaev. And I think he'd probably just get laid on to a decision. I think he is good enough to stop the submission attempts. And for JDM, I don't think that JDM... Now, I know he showed really good promise in the Bilal Muhammad fight, stuffing takedowns, but I still think that Bilal Muhammad is not a physical threat, you know? I guess you could look at Bilal Muhammad's physique and be like, bro, look at it. Like, he doesn't have power. Like, Bilal Muhammad is not someone that you have to worry about knocking you out. He's not someone you have to worry about getting finished by. And because of that, JDM was able to keep his hands a little lower whenever he was fighting Bilal. And if you could look at his face in this picture right now, he was getting hit by Bilal a lot more than people think. That fight is a lot closer than people tend to make it. But I just don't think JDM would be able to stuff the takedowns. I know he has Craig Jones working with him, and he's the anti-fucking Chechen guy or whatever, the anti-Daggy fighter, right? Or trainer. I don't think that JDM... I don't know. I just don't think he could stuff the takedowns of Chimaev, and I think he is a normal size 170er, and Chimaev would be a lot bigger than him. Now, I don't think that it would be as big of a size discrepancy as Islam and JDM, right? Or Islam and Chimaev. I think that he would actually stand a better chance size-wise. So maybe he has the physicality to stuff some more takedowns. But, I mean, we saw fucking random-ass, like, Rafael Buffett, whatever the fucking guy's name is. We saw him take down JDM. And you could say he was on roids. He was juiced up to the gills. Well, look what Chimaev did to fucking Dricus. You don't think he's maybe touching the sauce a little bit himself? So, yeah, I don't think that either of these guys could. Now, I do think that they stand a pretty fair chance, but I don't think that it's much of a chance. So, yeah. The next fight I want to talk about is the possibility of Reinier de Ridder versus Khamzat Chimaev. Now, I feel like de Ridder has a lot of attributes in his like style that would go against Khamzat Chimaev, all right? Let's just say that, all right? For starters, this guy is a pure grappler. This guy, he wants to go out there and get takedowns. That is his main objective. And he's a super big guy as well. This guy is a double champion, of course, at one championship. He was a double champ. And that is nothing to just kind of brush off. Being a double champion, even in the shittier promotions, is still something that's impressive. And he's even fought at heavyweight before. Yes, he lost, but he is a big guy, is the point that I'm trying to make. And he has the ability to not get finished on the ground as well. He is a super great jiu-jitsu black belt. He was able to take Robert Whittaker down. He was able to push Robert Whittaker against the fence. And honestly, I do think that Reinier de Ridder would be able to stuff a lot of Chimaev's takedowns. Now, I don't think that he'd be able to stuff all of them, but I do think that he is definitely a much better grappler than Dricus. He's a much better grappler than Imavov. He's a much better grappler than Adesanya, than MVP, than all the other people we've talked about except for Islam. But I think that his size And I think that he's really good at landing shots on people that are trying to come in range with him, like what he did to Bo Nickel whenever he landed those knees, and he landed those knees against Rob. I think he can land those same knees on Chimaev with some success. But I don't... Now, here's where you're going to have to follow me here. I don't think Reinier de Ridder is as good of a striker as Chimaev. And I think that's what would make this matchup so interesting. Is I think that this fight would be on the feet like the Usman and Burns fights. And I think that Chimaev would probably knock him out because he has more power. And we've seen Reinier get dropped by Whitaker, who is known for having pillow hands. We saw GM3. I'm pretty sure he either dropped him or rocked him. Now, we didn't get to see Holland or Bo Nickel have any success against Reinier, and that's a good thing for Reinier. And that's another reason that I think that Reinier would do pretty good against Chimaev is his fight with Bo Nickel, where he was able to shuck Bo Nickel off, who is one of the better wrestlers in the division, with ease, right? And so, yeah, we have seen Reinier fight someone who was a high-level wrestler and shuck him off, but when it comes to the actual striking, he's a little simplistic, and he looks kind of like goofy. I know it's goofy when he's doing it, but I think that this fight would be a lot closer than people are making it, right? I think Reinier poses some real problems to Chimaev, but ultimately I think Chimaev is a better striker than this guy. I think he would find his chin, and he has the power to put people away, so yeah. Let's talk about the next one, which is Marty Fake Newsman, Kamaru Usman. Now, I'm going to stick with this take, man. I think this is a fair take to have. I think that the first fight between these two guys was a draw. And think about it. It was on short notice for Kamaru Usman, 11 days notice. Chimaev was originally supposed to fight Paulo Costa. We saw that Usman still has it in the grappling department. Now, a lot of people were worried about Usman being washed in the Buckley fight, including myself. I picked Buckley to knock out Usman, and he almost did. I don't think that Chimaev is a better striker than Buckley, just pure striking versus pure striking. I think that the only time that Buckley ever gave trouble to Usman in the fight was on the feet. And in the grappling department, we saw Kamaru Usman take Buckley down every single round with ease. And in the Chimaev fight with Usman, after the first round, we saw Kamaru Usman stuff almost all of Chimaev's takedowns. And honestly, this fight should have been a draw. I stand by that. I think that Chimaev won the first round 10-8, and then Usman won the second and the third round. Third round, it was close. It could have gone to Chimaev, but if this round was a 5-round fight and Chimaev is stuck on the feet with Kamaru Usman, I think that Usman is the better striker, and I think that Usman could win a 5-round fight against Chimaev. And if I was Kamaru Usman and I watched that fight against Dricus, I'd be moving to 185 immediately. Especially after the close performance that I had against Chimaev in the past, and seeing that there's nobody else really in the division that's probably going to stand a chance against him. If I was Kamaru Usman, I'd be packing my bags to go back to 185 immediately. Because I think that Kamaru Usman, despite being as old as he is, still poses real problems to Chimaev on the feet, and he has the ability to stuff his takedowns. And yeah, man, I think Kamaru Usman, I think this fight would be another 50-50. I think this is a 50-50 fight. Now, I will say about this. Chimaev is in his prime. Chimaev is the best he ever looked yesterday. And on the other hand, we have Kamaru Usman, who's 39 now, I think. He'd probably be really, really old by the time these two guys fought each other. We got Uncle Usman, who's old as fuck. And he's not in his prime. And on the feet, he looks stiff against Buckley. But I still think he's a better striker than Chimaev, right? And so, yeah, man, I think Kamaru Usman poses, I think that if this was a 5-round fight, a lot of people said this after the first fight. And this is why a lot of people were picking Dricus as well. Was the Usman fight. A lot of people were picking Dricus because of the Usman fight. Because of how close it was, and if it was a 5-rounder, they thought that Usman could have won that fight. So, yeah, I think that Kamaru Usman stands a pretty good chance against Chimaev in a rematch. And if I was him, I'd move back to 185 immediately because I feel like JDM will stuff his takedowns and knock him out. And I think Islam Makhachev could probably do the same thing. But I don't know, man. I think that Usman stands a pretty good chance against Chimaev, bro. So, yeah. And let's move on to the final person on this list, the person who I think stands the best chance against Chimaev. And that's Fluffy Hernandez. Now, speaking of absolutely dominating your opponent and rendering him into a fucking training bag, that is what Fluffy Hernandez did to Roman Dolidze in his last fight. Just completely clapped Roman Dolidze's cheeks with ease. Like Roman Dolidze, he kept pulling guard. Fluffy would just stand up. He'd fuck him up on the feet. I think that Alexander Hernandez has all of the tools necessary to defeat Chimaev. I do it now. The main question I have going into this fight is Fluffy good enough to hang with Chimaev in the grappling? And I do think that he'll be able to stuff a couple of the takedowns. And I definitely think that he has better grappling than Dricus. I think he has on par grappling with Usman. Now, I don't think he has on par wrestling, which is kind of the concerning part. So I think we could definitely eliminate Fluffy getting finished in this fight. And I think if this fight could stay on the feet, I think that Fluffy would walk forward. He was eating a lot of Dolidze's shots. A lot of these shots that Dolidze were throwing, he was throwing with full intent, landing, and it wasn't doing shit to Fluffy. Fluffy has just looked like a fucking beast in his last couple of fights. He's on a tear, and I think he has a lot of the attributes that are weaknesses to Chimaev's game that we've seen in past fights. Now, I know it's hard to say that after what we saw yesterday, but there is still ways to beat this guy. We saw in the last round against Dricus. If Chimaev is on the feet, he's kind of a bird out of water. He's kind of a bird out of water. Yeah, bro, he's a bird out of water. No, he's a fish out of water. He's kind of a fish out of water on the feet. And I think Fluffy is super well-rounded, and he has the ability to keep the fight on the feet in some instances compared to someone like Dricus or someone like Whitaker, right? So, yeah, I think that Fluffy does pose a lot of problems, but ultimately, I still think that Chimaev would probably just in the end, who can we say beats Chimaev? Fucking nobody. All right, I don't think anybody in the UFC can beat Khamzat Chimaev right now. I think that he is probably the greatest wrestler we have ever seen, and I don't think anybody, especially at middleweight, has the skills to negate the grappling of Chimaev. So that is the video. If you like the video, like, subscribe, do all that YouTube shit. Do all that YouTube shit. And guess what, guys? We fucking did it. We fucking did it. We hit 10,000 subscribers. We did it. I really have to say thank you to every single person that pushed that subscribe button. Every single one of you that likes my videos. You guys are the reason I do what I'm doing. I would not do this, guy. Showing the love and support that I've gotten over YouTube, transitioning from just making memes on Instagram to just doing commentary on fighting. The support and love that I've gotten has been so unreal. And it just means the most. I just love the UFC community so much. I know it can get a little toxic sometimes. But I love you guys. That's kind of the point I want to make. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for 10,000 subscribers. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.